Hi, I'm Homesteading Barbie. Today we're going to be making one of my very favorite soaps. This is exfoliating soap, and it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of know-how, but it's well worth the effort. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's get into it. So first we're going to assemble all of our ingredients and equipment. This is sodium lactate. This is going to help the soap last longer. You're going to use some sort of oils. I'm going to be using my home rendered tallow and coconut oil. I've got sodium hydroxide because this is going to be solid soap. So I'm using sodium hydroxide instead of potassium hydroxide. This is some sort of glass to weigh out the sodium hydroxide. Something to pour it into that's glass, and then something to stir it that can get kind of gross, like these little stir sticks. I've got some cinnamon that I'm going to be putting in there, some almond essential oil, and some coffee. That's going to give it that good scrub ability for the exfoliating. I've got my eye protection, my respirator, rubber gloves. I've got a nice stainless steel pot. I've got mold, some sort of mold to pour it in, and my drill, my stir, something to stir it with, my spatula so I can scrape the sides, and my scale so that I can weigh it all. Okay, and I also have something to measure the oils in, and I have some distilled water. So now we're ready to get started. And we're going to do 15 ounces of coconut oil. Okay, now I'm going to weigh out the water. It's going to be 18.49 ounces. You want to be pretty exact. Oops, that's fine. I'm going to be pretty right on though. And then we're going to put our gloves on and weigh out the lye. This is going to be 8.27. You want to be careful with this. This stuff is pretty toxic. Try not to get it everywhere. That's perfect. Okay, next we are going to put the oils on a burner and get them warmed up. Make sure that they're melted completely, and you want them to be between 120 and 130 degrees. Now we are going to get on all of our safety gear. We've got our goggles and our respirator. Make sure you're wearing old clothes, cover up everything. You do not want this stuff on you. Make sure you also have gloves. Now we're going to put the lye into the water. Never the water into the lye. The water into the lye will create a bomb and it will explode, so do not do that. And you're going to make sure that you're stirring while you pour it in. Make sure you get it nice and stirred. Stir, stir, stir. Come back and stir periodically while it's cooling down. You're going to want to get it also between 120 and 130
degrees, the same as the oil. So when both of the lye and the oils are between 120 and 130 degrees, you can go ahead and pour your lye into your oils. And then you're going to start stirring. So you're going to you can use an immersion blender. I'm using a paint stir and a drill. If you do this by hand, it'll take about 3 hours. If you do it with an electric drill, it'll take between 20 and 40 minutes. So you're just going to stir, 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 keep stirring. You don't have to do it really quickly. Nice and slow is fine. I have this on a brick inside of a can, a garbage can, just so that it doesn't splash all over me. But what you're trying to do is just get the oils and the lye to emulsify and go through the saponification process. So you really don't want to crank up the speed. Nice and slow is totally fine. You don't want to go too slow though. And make sure you just keep stirring and stirring. And it's going to take a while. This is my least favorite part of the whole process, but it's an important step. So keep stirring. And you're just going to keep stirring. You can stop stirring when it gets a little bit thick, like a thin pudding, and achieves what's called trace, where you can see right there where it leaves a little trail behind where I'm stirring. And that's when you know that it's ready. This is where you're going to add any of your fragrances and your flavorings that's going to make the soap the kind of soap that it is. So first we're going to add some sodium lactate. This is a preservative. It's going to help the soap last a lot longer. And I'm just going to put a teaspoon in. That'll help it preserve. It lasts about a year or two on the shelf. Here I'm going to add some cinnamon. Cinnamon is really great for your skin and just really good. Smells amazing in general. I added about 2 tablespoons of that. And then we're going to add about 35 drops of, I'm using almond oil here, but you can use any fragrance you like, any essential oil. And then for this one, because it's the exfoliating soap, I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of coffee. This will be what is the exfoliator in it. So you can add any herbs or any flavoring that you want at this time. So I'm just going to stir that up, make sure that all gets mixed in evenly. Certain essential oils will ruin your trace, so some of them you have to stir quite a bit. This one didn't, so I'm just basically mixing it in. You also want to take a spatula and make sure you scrape the sides, otherwise it won't be even when you go to pour it. So now we're going to go ahead and pour it into our molds. You can use any sort of mold. If you want to just use something that's not like a silicone mold that I bought here, you can use some parchment paper and just pour it into that and cut it. Anything that works. So I'm just going to scrape the sides, make sure it's all evenly mixed, that there's not any pockets that don't have the coffee in it. And I already sprayed my alcohol on the bottom so that it doesn't get that ashy look. And now I'm just going to scoop it into the molds. Take your time with this and make sure that you're getting it all even. You even want to sort of pound it down so that it gets in all the crevices and corners. You don't want to take too long. This is still going through the saponification process, so it's going to set up pretty quickly, but you do have a little bit of time. Okay, in the last step, we're just going to spray some rubbing alcohol over it so it doesn't get ashy, and then we're going to take some plastic wrap and put it over the top so that the towel doesn't get soap on it when we wrap it up. And then we are going to wrap it up in the towel. If your house is super duper cold, you can use a heating pad underneath or like a seed starting pad or something like that. But if your house is not crazy cold, then that's not necessary. And then we are just going to wrap it up inside of the towel, and we're going to let it sit for 24 to 48 hours.
Hi everybody, I'm Homesteading Barbie. Today we're going to be making one of my very favorite soaps. This is exfoliating soap, and it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of know-how, but it's well worth the effort. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's get into it. And then we are done. These make excellent gifts. It's so fun to give someone some of your homemade soap, and it really does shed a whole layer of skin, which is fantastic. It also helps with cellulite because it is made with coffee. So it's just a really good overall exfoliating soap, and it smells fantastic, and it's really wonderful for your skin. Homemade soap is not made with detergents like normal soap. Soap that you buy in the store really strips your oils. So making your own soap really helps for you to so making your own soap really helps retain your oils and is much better for you in general. Helps you look younger and feel more moisturized. So I hope that you try this, and I hope that you like it. Thank you as always for watching.